Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Let's Play for Cities Skylines. This is a game I've really been looking forward to. It's made by a company called Colossal Order, who did Cities in Motion. Now, I think this was planned all along because Cities in Motion was not a city builder, but the game was all about managing traffic. It really was. And even though it was mainly about managing traffic, managing bus routes and all that kind of stuff, it really proved that Colossal Order could build a game that was very sound. Managed all the problems that people always complained about with SimCity. Oh, too much traffic, you build a beautiful city, and then all of a sudden it simply doesn't work anymore because of traffic issues. You will find that this game is absolutely fantastic when it comes to resolving some of those issues. Now, I've spent a little bit of time playing this game so far, maybe about 20-30 hours or so I've got a little bit of experience with it. It's a very in-depth game, which is fantastic. People who love these kind of simulations, they love to get into the detail anyway. Now, my first city was on two rivers, which I really enjoyed. This lake here was beautiful. I had nice residential areas built around it, and I had some power generation right in the center of it. Today, and for our Let's Play, we're going to go with River Run. The outside connections are good for commerce, such as highway. Obviously, you always get highway, trains, ship connections, and plane connections. We also have an abundance of natural resources as well, which we'll go into later. Basically, you've got oil, ores, farms, and forestry. So here we are. This is where we're starting. Because I'm from the UK, I'm used to left-hand traffic, so I will do that as well. This game is so well designed. It really is. The starting map area, which you're about to see in a few moments here, it's just I know I'm kind of looking at it here now from more of a technical viewpoint, but it really is designed far better, technically speaking, than SimCity. This starting map here, I'll be nice and quick because this first episode about half an hour. I don't want to spend too much time waffling on. I want to get into the game as much as possible. But this starting area is basically the amount of land that you had available to build in the latest SimCity 5. People were never happy about that. There were rumours that that would be improved, and it never was, as far as I'm aware. With this game, you reach certain milestones and then you unlock different types of buildings. As you can see, there isn't much down here at the moment, but you also unlock the ability to purchase land outside of your starting area. So I could build on the other side of this motorway, for example, in this one. I could build further on down this stream. There isn't any ocean to contend with here, so there is plenty of space to build. You may also see a faint line across here. It's kind of hard to see from here, but there's railway tracks as well. In fact, there's a railway track coming down here. So let's get started. There's plenty to discuss because this game is amazing. It really is amazing. What we're going to do first is we're going to build our first road. Let's zoom in a little bit. I prefer more of a top-down view. So our first road here, these grids help us to plan out like perfect junctions. For example, if I was to come here and then across there again, you'll see that these fit in perfectly with one another. This very first road, it's basically a two-way road, one lane each way, and that's the first road you can build. Later on you can go into one-way roads, etc., higher densities. The first thing we need to do is to simply build some residential areas. Now, whenever I start a city in this game, my starting area is always very much temporary, and you will see why soon. Because coming off the motorway here, these junctions are far too close together, and they will end up the traffic will be far too congested. So what we're going to do here, starting off, we got our residential, it's already zoned. We will need to also zone some industry, so I will do that over here, and I will also zone some commercial. It's going to ask for it, so I'm going to put it down right away anyway. Now the first thing that these people are going to ask for, and they will only ask for things that have already been unlocked, like nobody's going to ask for education, they're not going to complain about the lack of police or fire protection or medical protection or aid, should I say. These are unlocked later on when we reach certain milestones. The first milestone, it isn't even showing us yet because we haven't progressed far enough in the game, but we will very quickly. What we can do also down here is we can speed up, we can accelerate time. So this will help things show a little bit quicker for you. So these guys are already started to complain. I've just paused it nice and conveniently pressing the space bar. You can press keys 1 to 3 for this speed. The first thing that they need is electricity and water. So the first thing we'll tackle is the electricity. So what we do is we build a wind turbine, and the darker this colour here, the greater the wind. Like we got 6 megawatts there, 8 is the maximum you can get from a wind turbine. You can even put them in less productive areas, but you'll get very little benefit from them, such as 3 megawatts, 2 megawatts, kind of a waste there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off over here in an area where it's got 8, so there we go, that's a good place to start. I will need to build pylons from there. In fact, let me just do the water first. With the water, I'll do the electricity very shortly, I promise. Now with the water, we need to consider something very important here, and that is these arrows. The arrows are pointing in this direction. So we need to pump water from the rivers, okay, and we do this upstream to ensure that there is no pollution, because when we drain water from the city, as it says here, the drain pipe pumps out wastewater. Remember to avoid pumping sewage upstream. Note that a drain pipe always requires a water pumping station to work properly, and a road connection isn't required. So we've got our pumping station there, and we will have a water station here. Okay, water drain pipe, should I say. And what we do is we connect these up to our city. First of all, I know I'm kind of doing this, it seems a bit scatterbrained at the moment, but I'm going to connect this with electricity first of all. I am going to run electricity down here, because one of my first main roads would be maybe industry down on this coast, and then I'm going to bring it into the city or into the residential area. And of course I'm going to connect this service up as well. So these now have electricity. They can't do anything without electricity, even if they're connected properly with pipes. So what I'm going to do now, kind of going to follow this route here with a pipe, and we need to connect this little let me show you, this little dot here, we connect to that. Okay, so that's now connected, and we'll do the same with here, as I plan to have a road up here soon, and then connect up with that. Now we also need to connect this to our city. Some of these visual aids aren't the easiest to see, but they kind of grain everything out so you can concentrate on the water, so you'll see later on that's not really a big deal. So connect this to our system. If I just unpause the game, you'll see that this starts to flow with water. There we go, the water's flowing. There's 2 pipes, you only need to lay down one. One pipe pumps in the water, and the other pipe pumps out the sewage. Sorry, that's pumping in water, and the other one's pumping in sewage. So let's now make sure that we will have water here. Let's not spend too much money at the beginning. Money is precious at the beginning of this game. Okay. So there we have it. They're already starting to complain about sewage, but that will soon resolve itself because I've built the required building. As it said before, it doesn't require roads because they simply use the pipes. Let's make sure that's connected properly. This is my pumping station. This one needs to ensure that it's connected properly. Let's just check. Yeah. Press escape and you can come out of that. Sewage is backing up. There we go, it's resolved now. Oh, sewage is backing up again. I don't know why that's flashing on and off. That's never done that to me before. Never had an issue resolving sewage. Now, I'm sure that will resolve itself in time. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to build some more roads. In fact, let's build off here for now. Zone more residential because these guys are desperate for residential. See the filter here. Very high demand for residential zone. Let's allow the game to continue playing. Let's check we have enough electricity. Yeah, we're producing 8 and consuming 2 or 3. Okay, those buttons are... No, they're not disappearing. That is the very first time that that's done that to me. Let's just check this one moment. The drain pipe pumps out wastewater. Remember to avoid pumping sewage upstream. Note that a drain pipe always requires a water pumping station to work properly. Road connection not required. Let's make sure that this is definitely connected properly. I'm going to bulldoze this and we're going to make the pipes again from here. If we click on this, we can see it says it's operating normally. That's the pumping station that brings water into the city. This is the one that we need to be more sure of. It says it's operating normally. Sewage treatment. Sewage drainage capacity is 0 per week. I've put these on the wrong side. Water. Do you know what the mistake I've made? I promise you, and I didn't make this mistake before. I built 2 water pumping stations. This one needs to be deleted. This is very useful. It tells you that there is no capacity for drainage. So, bulldozer, which I have mapped to the B key, get rid of that and put this in. I'm going to put it away from that to ensure that I connect it up. It can be a little bit fussy if you try put it on one that's already... There we go, we got a light blue and a dark blue. So now these residents will be happy. We had some abandoned buildings because that issue lasted a little bit too long. Now it's saying not enough water. So let's have a look at our water. Water availability is very high. I think they're really just... Oh, there we go. That's why there's not enough water. We need to extend this line. Generally speaking, it's not really that expensive to build these. It's costing me 1,500 for that there. It's a good idea to extend the lines beforehand. Electricity is not as a problem because this grid here, this area, will expand as the residents expand. So let's continue to build our residential zone. Are they starting to complain about electricity? Let's have a look. Yeah, we've already gone over our threshold, so I'm going to build another one here now. So you need to build this in as well. Congratulations, you've reached a population of 460. We now have access to some new features, loans and taxes, some new services, garbage, healthcare and education, as well as the buildings that go along with that. That's 2. There we go. So that's powered again. I moved it over, so that's why it didn't fit in. And let's build another one nearby. Nice and close. 8 megawatts. There we go. That's how quickly it usually resolves when you have everything right. Electricity. It's also resolved. So now, I'm going to make some space for some more residential area. I'm going to delete this road here because I just showed it you as an example. There we go. I expect those homes to disappear. And what we're going to do is going to build a road here. Now instead, if I wanted to, I could be nice and blocky, which is very, very efficient, but not as desirable, if you ask me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some nice curved freeform roads, starting maybe about here. I'm going to use a regular road, which I can upgrade later, and I'm going to build a nice freeform road here. And you'll see when you first lay this road, this faint line here is the direction you want to go in, and then you can bend around as you please. As with all city builders, one of the most important issues is that you don't have too many junctions. So this road obviously will get busy in the future. What I'm helping to ensure here is that there are many people that can be serviced by this road without there being too big of an issue with junctions. I also plan to have a few connections here and then over here, so people can easily in fact, I'm going to delete that just so I can show you one thing. Education has been unlocked now. Now, if I was to put that here, it can only travel so far. And it's only travelling so far in this direction as well. If I was to put these roads back in the centre here, we will find that it's better for this green line that starts off nice and strong and slowly fades according to how far these services can travel. So I've got my first school. Look at that, they're running low on electricity again because they built so much. So I have my first school. I'm going to zone a little bit more residential around here. Zoom in a little bit. Just nice and close to the school for now, nothing major. Okay. And a little bit of commerce as well. And let's resolve this electricity issue. Consumption is 9, producing 15, so why are they complaining? These that are flashing blue means that everything is A-OK. Let's speed the game up a touch. Yes, they are still complaining, but anyway, what we're going to do for now is we're going to connect these two neighbourhoods. I haven't zoned land at the moment to go out here, so it's not naturally going to come over, but I can delete these power lines later. I have suspected in the past that maybe these power lines can only travel so far. Let's see, let's grab this. We'll cover the majority of these buildings here. As you can see, this money here is starting to increase because we're getting more residential. Our water availability and treatment is pretty good at the moment. Electricity is good, but they are complaining, aren't they? I'm going to run another line here. Let's have a look. Well, oh, I see. This has never happened to me before, but that was disconnected for some reason. I'm sure that was actually connected earlier. Now, if you remember a few minutes ago, the milestones introduced, let's put the speed back down. We're now starting to earn money, which is good. Crisis is over. The milestones introduce these garbage, healthcare and education, so the citizens will now start to expect these. They don't expect it if it's not unlocked yet in the game. But if we was to click on these, you can see this garbage icon here. Garbage has piled up. There's some garbage piled up. Make sure garbage trucks can reach the building. There is no building yet. So that's what we're going to do next. Let's build another road. As I was saying earlier, these roads can be upgraded later on. Let's build it as far away as possible. And let's build our first landfill site. Let's zoom out a little bit and you'll be able to see how it affects the city. It doesn't quite cover everywhere, so I'm going to build it a little bit closer because we want as much of this to be green as possible. Now, to be honest with you, I could have it fairly close because the pollution is not going to reach my neighbourhood. The pollution that we have, it's got quite a big radius. And it's only going to come to here. There's still more industry, so it's not going to be a problem. It's not touching a residential area. These, of course, cost money. This costs, what is it, 160 per week. Other services which we'll get around to shortly, medical clinic, 400 a week, which of course is going to reduce this, but in turn our residents will be happier. We could increase our coverage here a little bit now. Let's connect that over. We don't have to go all the way, in all fairness, but I tend to be quite thorough. There's tiny little gaps, as you can see here, but generally speaking they build buildings that cover as many squares as possible, so it shouldn't be an issue. These icons are starting to disappear now, and if we look at our first landfill site, you'll see that there are trucks in use, 14 out of 15, and the percentage of it being full. Obviously eventually that will fill up. Later on we'll be able to build other services that actually burn rubbish or garbage, and it can produce, as you see on the bottom right there, has a greater garbage truck capacity, and it can process 48,000 a week and actually produce electricity of 12 megawatts. So if you can't remember whether you've already done your education, you can click on that and it will show you this purple sign here, shows you the buildings. If I was to click, actually I don't have access to this building yet, but if I was to click on the high school, this purple highlight would disappear and it would show these high schools instead. Now these buildings are quite expensive, 10,000. I'm going to speed up the time. We are making money, so it's not dangerous to speed up time, and we'll get this going a little bit higher. Now for now, let's just say these are going to be my poor citizens and this is going to be my area that I plan to really build up. As you can see up here, education, we have a capacity of 300, and eligibility isn't getting so high that this is going down and into the red, so that's good. This percentage will continue to increase. Basically it tends to follow somebody's life really, where children go to elementary school, they get educated, after that they go to high school and they get well educated, and then they go to universities and get highly educated. They have to follow this process. Even if you have the money, and even if you manage to travel to progress as far into this game to get up to 1,500 residents, which would unlock the high school, if you didn't have any elementary schools in this city or in a given area, nobody would be going to the high school because they have to go to the elementary first. That's the way it works. Now, new services have been unlocked, as it's reminded me here of healthcare. So let's put in an elementary school. In fact, before I do that, if we click on one of these residential buildings here and we was to hover over this button, it will tell you what we need to do in order to allow this neighborhood to increase up. It's basically got 5 levels, and as the levels increase, the population cap will also increase. So you've got 4 households here. The population, I guess, is 14. If we could increase this to the next level, we would get more residents, therefore more taxes. So it's saying that to increase the value of the land, to allow the building to be upgraded, parks, plazas, and good services increase land value. Good services, for example, are healthcare. So the first thing I'm going to do here, space already occupied. Round roads are wonderful. Curved roads are wonderful, but they can make it a little bit harder to fit in services sometimes. Like in here, because the road bends inwards, there's not enough room sometimes for the building. Anyway, we're going to put it here on this intersection. Costs us 10,000, so we can afford that now. Many happy students. Let's increase this area here. You don't want to do it too far because it might be hard to keep up with their needs, such as electricity, water, etc. You can see these little icons here that show that somebody's just moved in. We still have a demand for commercial, so let's add a little bit more in here. The demand for residential is still pretty good. Let's fill in some of these more flat areas. This is one of the issues with making nice round roads. They look beautiful, but it takes longer. You can't just fill in a huge block like I was doing earlier with these. So let's add some more residential. The need for industry is increasing as well, so let's go back to our fill tool. And we'll fill this up. Okay. There is more than enough room there. Looks like our electricity is not high enough again. Yep, it's going below the threshold. Okay, so... oh, there goes another one. We are now a worthy village, 950 population, approximately. So, we have more unlocks. I'll be honest with you, I think these unlocks come a little bit too thick and fast. We haven't really got into all the other ones yet, and we've got new unlocks already. But we'll definitely get into all of them eventually. In due time. So I'm going to build 2 of these. I can easily afford 2 extra ones. 80 per week. They're very cheap to run. So that should significantly increase for a while. It may not be enough to cover our our plans for here. Let's see how the electricity is doing. The pylons, they're connecting. This one now I can remove, so I'm pressing B for bulldozer. And by the way, by default you cannot press B for bulldozer or any of these, you have to map them. So I'll show you how to do that. If you press escape, or you can press this icon up here, I prefer to press escape. Options, gameplay, in-game. In fact, you may have noticed that I'm not kind of... you can scroll the map in different ways. You can go to the sides of the screen. I find that a little bit too, you know, it just doesn't work for me. I tend to use the ASDF. It's quicker. You're not messing about with the mouse as much. It has a little bit more finesse. But you can also change other controls as well, such as in-game. If we scroll down, we will see bulldozer. Believe it or not, I use it quite frequently, so I remapped that to B. But you can use whatever key, any letters you like. If you try to use one that's already been taken, it will give you a reminder. So let's put some more services in here. Healthcare. We've done healthcare for now. Let's be generous and give these guys a bit of healthcare as well. It's important that we watch the cost. I mean, that's 400 a week, so this will reduce. Really, what you're better off doing is increasing the services for one small area. So, healthcare is sorted. Fire department isn't yet. Set districts we will do very shortly. We need a bit more money for the firehouse. Now, there are a few things I can do here. Money is still increasing, so if I wanted to, I can speed up the game and generate income that way. As I said though, it's going to continue to reduce because of that new school that I put in over there. Now you might be asking the question, why spend so much money on schooling? I have already mentioned that you know, people need to be educated. These factories here educate more citizens to allow the building to be upgraded, make sure your education facilities can handle all potential students. So this building here, it doesn't actually require educated people. You see, there are still 8 jobs available, and as you can see, there is plenty of need for residential. Let's have a look at a few others. None of these require educated people. As we get more educated people in the city, better options will come in here. And also as we increase services down this area as well, we will get industries built that require more educated citizens. So let's see, let's do some fire department, fire protection. That's a good place for this. Let's have a look. We don't have enough money. How much do we need? 12,000. It is steadily picking up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of the things that was unlocked. We have our economy panel here. Shows the cost of all these different budgets. If we wanted to, we could reduce some of these. It's not something I really do, because you know, if you reduce the electricity, then you're not going to be getting as much electricity, etc. You're always in demand for these things. But you can also boost them as well. Like if you wanted to boost the education, instead of building more schools, you could do this and increase it up. And you will find mouse control can be a little bit fidgety. You can press mouse wheel up and down to go by 1% at a time. But what we come to this panel for is for loans. Residential is high, so I'm also going to increase the taxes a little bit here as well. Commercial is high, so I'm going to do the same there. I can keep my eyes on those later to see if I need to reduce taxes. As you can see, it's already making a difference to the income, increasing the taxes there. You get these messages now and again. Grow the city. These coloured bars indicate the demand for buildings, as I've already mentioned. Hover the mouse cursor over the bars to learn more. Very high demand for residential, medium demand, low demand. That's quite obvious. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a quick loan. Money isn't a serious issue, so I'm only going to take out the smallest loan. Borrowing 1,000, paying it back at, what is it, 403 a week, only pays an extra 1,000. But the point is, with that, I can afford to... Oh, we have a fire. Let's do the fire brigade first. So I can afford to put in this fire station. So I will do it here, nice and close to the junction. And let's see, let's zoom in a little bit. You will see fire stations that will start to come out and they will travel. That's an SUV. Where was the fire? It's already burned down, we didn't catch it soon enough. Let's go outside so more buildings can come in. They should be fairly quickly because the need is high. But now we have a fire station, so that's less likely to happen in the future. These guys are reporting crime rate is high, so that's the next thing we're going to build. A police station. These are expensive. Income is continuing to grow. We can afford the 480, so that's the next thing I'm going to put in here. There we go. So that covers all of this area here. Now one of the things that was unlocked recently is this feature here, districts. For now we're just going to zone regular districts. We can do other districts later on, such as various industries. Generic industry, like, in fact I can do that here. Generic industry. All we simply do is zone the industry first, using for example this painting tool. It gives it a name for us, Empire District, and then we can click this button and then click on the district, and it will make the district a generic district. It's not putting the icon there. For example, if we was to make it an oil district which hasn't been unlocked yet, then it would put a little icon on, but we just want it a regular district for now. If we was to go in, let's see, natural resources. These faint colours here, yellow is for fertile land, so we could build farming districts down here, or farming industries. Forestry, that's quite obvious. This bit over here is oil. Now I don't see any ores in this starting area. There's some ore here on the right, so if we're really desperate to get into ore, you know, we could branch out to this side. In fact, there's some more down here and there's some more up there, just outside of our reach. So that's something we can look into later. For now, I'm happy with how it stands at the moment. So, another building has burned down. Let's demolish this building. It's not something you need to worry about, they fill in again pretty quickly. Get rid of these. So there's our firehouse. Fire engines in use, 0 out of 6. So if there was a fire, they would get there fairly quickly. Let's see what happened to this one. This one also burned down. Probably, let's see if this reaches. If I go back on to fire, it doesn't really reach, does it? I can afford to build another one, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it as close to this intersection as possible, because I want it to service this industrial section as well. So there, should be okay. Doesn't reach the whole amount, but we can work on that later. Now, we're approaching the wrapping up time, so I hope you have enjoyed this very first episode. There are a lot more things for us to get into, such as, you know, we've got various unique buildings that we can unlock, decorations, we've got transport, which we'll do in the next episode. Policies as well. In fact, I'll quickly show you what we can do with policies. When we create districts, as I showed you earlier with this tool allows us to create districts. What we can do is we can define policies according, and we can look at stats for that particular district as well. As you can see, there's no population because there's no residences, but there's a bit of commerce and there is some industry there. Of course, we have no tourists. Wouldn't expect tourists in a place like this, would you? But we can look into the policies. There hasn't been many unlocked at the moment, but in the future you will see there are many policies for services, taxation and city planning. We'll look into that more in the next episode. We can also create another district here, which we'll do nice and quickly, for this beautiful area that I'm zoning here. Let's extend it out. Let's include all of this residential area here. Now you can fine tune this as well with these smaller brush types. If you went out too far, maybe this was an industrial zone here, you can trim it with any of the brushes. Generally speaking, it's a good idea to trim with a smaller brush, like you can really get in there and really fine tune it. And we now have Beechwood Park. Now these names of these districts, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to use the default ones. Sometimes they're really nice names. What I would like to use, when I get new viewers on my YouTube channel, subscribing, liking, leaving comments, etc., I'd really like to rename these parks, for example, after my viewers. Now you can suggest names and people can vote for really nice names, etc. You can leave comments down below, give me advice on what you'd like to see me doing differently, various building styles that you would like to see. This is very early game, but what we will be doing very soon is to get into the other features that the game has. Let's increase this. Am I covering everything there now? Pretty much. Later on I will get rid of these power lines. I may already be able to do that just before I end the episode. In fact, yes I can. These power lines actually cost money. So, in fact, looking down here, it doesn't cost a lot, but it costs 0.48 per week per cell. Now I think per cell is these. Okay, each one's these. There we go, another unlock, which we'll get into next time. See, we can now put policies such as pet bans, smoking bans, parks and recreation, and we also have unlocks to high school, which we'll do in the next episode. But for now, let's save a little bit of money. This will also neaten up our area a little bit. For example, that zoning that I just did is now open, it's not obscured by power lines. But there we have it, that's our very first start. You will find in the next episode that we'll be building a lot quicker and expanding much quicker, because we will have already gone over the basics of the game. The first episode is kind of almost like a review. You know, I could have done a lot if I was just playing this on my own without talking about it. I would have built a lot quicker, but I'm going nice and patient for you guys. Gives you a better idea as to whether you might enjoy the game if you're thinking about buying it. Remember to give us a like and subscribe and leave comments below. They'd be much appreciated. If you can, when the adverts start to run, do me a favour, allow them to play, because that allows me to generate a little bit of revenue for this channel, which will allow me to grow much quicker. Soon I'll be advertising this YouTube account, and we'll get a lot more users involved, and the comments section will start to get busier. Ideas will start to flow. We'll start doing voting as well. So thank you very much for watching this very first episode, and I will see you next time.